Today we're going to have a quick chat about frequency or CPM, terms that are thrown around in in elite style club building and all these sorts of things. And people ask me, do I have a frequency machine? My answer is no. And they say, why not? And I'll explain to you as to why I don't. Okay, so to start with, what is frequency, or the word frequency means how often, basically. And with a frequency machine, they'll give you what we call a CPM, which is cycles per minute. And basically, if I had a machine here, I'd show you what's done. But basically, you put a shaft in a machine, it's clamped, and then you flick it. Dwing! And it goes up and down like this. And it tells you how many times per minute it goes up and down. Okay? Now with for example, with these LA golf shafts, they've actually got frequencies written on them, or a CPM value. If you have a look in here, 266 CPM. And this is in a Tour AXS Blue 60X by LA Golf Shafts. Now the blue, this is also a blue but white shaft, in 60 stiff says 254 CPM. Okay, so basically the softer the shaft, so closer to 200, the shaft's going to go like this because it's softer in the machine. It's going to go up and down slower. And so it won't do as many cycles per minute. Okay, when it's stiffer, it'll really start to move faster, and you might get numbers of closer to 300 cycles per minute. Okay, so that's what CPM is. However, there's multiple problems with using a CPM. So every machine is different. There is no industry standard as to what frequency machine is standard. And each machine, some machines could clamp 7 inches from the butt, some 5 inches. They're different spots. And so they can give the same shaft can get a different reading on two machines. So it's number one problem. But the biggest problem is that this CPM or frequency system was designed in the 60s, and it was designed around steel shafts because we didn't have graphite or composites back then. So basically, a steel shaft, it's assumed that the shaft has the same thickness all the way through. And so when you take a frequency reading, you're taking it at the handle end. Okay, this is where the reading is. It's somewhere around this area, depending on the machine. Okay, so it will give you a butt. This is the butt. The tip is up this end. It will give you a butt frequency. It does not take into consideration the mid or the tip section of the shaft. Okay, it is a butt frequency only. So, with that in mind, you can get scenarios, for example, where a Fujikura shaft, for example. Now they have in their catalogue, they've done butt and tip frequencies. And if you can come in here, just referring to the book, we're going to look at the butt because that's where the CPM is taken. And we'll look at Ventus Red 6S. The butt flex is 81. Okay. Now if we go down here, Ventus Blue 7S, 81. And Ventus Black 6S, 81. So if we forget about the blue in the 7S, but basically it's saying that the Ventus Black and the Ventus Red have got the same frequency, which is correct, because that's what it is at the butt. Do they play the same? Nowhere near, not even close. because they've got totally different mid and tip sections. So there's no point. It's not that there's no point, but there is very, very little point in looking at a CPM number when it's taken at the butt only. So we've moved on from that sort of system. It's like saying, I'm a size 34 pants. Now maybe I was prior to Corona, right? But not all pants are the same. They might be 34 inches at the waist, but then they might be really skinny in the thigh and then tiny in the ankle, or, there's different styles of pants, right? There are different thicknesses all the way down the pants. And so not only could they be different profiles in your pants, but even the 34 can be different from manufacturer to manufacturer. Why does 34 not always fit? Why do I need a 35 or a 33 or a 38 in that brand? Surely they're the same. No, they're not. Okay, so it's the same as a shoe. I'm a size 10, but hang on, I'm a size 9.5 in this brand and a size 11 in that brand. But surely that can't be the case. The reality is that is the case, okay? And the reality is we use different machines to measure these CPMs or these frequencies, and they are only taken at the butt end. So the move on from that is what we call an EI profile, and that will basically measure each centimetre along a shaft. It'll measure at different points, and it'll give you a chart, and that'll actually show you. You see in most manufacturers' catalogues, they've got an EI profile of each shaft. It shows you the butt, like it's stiffer at the butt or softer in the middle and stiffer at the tip or whatever it might be. And that's a great way to actually compare shafts, particularly in graphite, because they are manipulated to make them do certain things. Now, probably one of the best systems I've seen is by Miyazaki, and they have a frequency. They've basically put a number, and if you come in nice and close here, if you can see these two here, this is a Miyazaki series shaft here. We've got a 6X, both of these are 60 gram or 60 something gram X's, and this says 6644, and this says 5677. Both extra stiff. But basically this one, to produce a more mid-flight, has got an equivalent rating of 1 to 10, 5, 5, 4, 4. So it's a little softer in the tip, this one. And this one goes 5, 5, 6, 7, 7. So this is a 7 in the tip, and this one's a 4 in the tip. Totally different shafts, totally different launches, right? But this one is 6 in the butt, and this one's 5. So if we purely did it on a butt flex, this is a softer one. But this has got a much, much firmer tip and will produce a lower launch because of the tip stiffness. Okay, so while it's an extremely complex situation and trying to match yourself to a CPM, it's almost a waste of time, to be honest. And that's why I don't have a machine, because you need to compare, well, you need to use what works for you. And a number at only the butt flex is not really going to tell you what that shaft does. So another example, you can get a Dynamic Gold S300, a KBS C-Taper Light 115 gram X, the S300's 130, 115 gram C-Taper Light, and then get yourself a Modus in a 120 TX, and all of those three shafts have the same CPM. But I guarantee you, they're not even remotely the same when it comes to flight and feel and launch. So, a Project X, for another example, a Project X 5.0 and a Project X LZ 6.0, same frequency. But again, they're not the same shafts. Different mid, different tip, different launches, different performance. Okay, so it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying frequency is a bad thing. So if you get a set of steel, and almost forget about frequency in graphite, you might as well just throw it in the bin, right? Because you get two shafts with the same frequency and they're nothing like each other. Okay. In steel, the steel is a little bit more consistent. So where frequency might be good is if you've got a set of shafts and you want to make sure that set will flex the same, then you can try and match those frequencies, and you might get a matched set. You know, but things like length of club, swing weight of club, grip type, grip thickness, total weight, all of these things play a huge role into getting something to perform. And if you're purely being sold on frequency, then I don't know what to say, to be honest. It's old. It's an old way of doing things. And it's really not particularly when you're talking about graphite. A CPM number will give you some sort of starting point, but it's certainly no way to fit. And even when it comes to the build process, if you have been fitted to a 300 CPM shaft, and then you want your driver shaft built at 300 CPMs, fabulous. But if that person has not taken a CPM at the middle and the tip and matched those up, then it's not the same, I'm sorry to say. So that's all we got for today. Shoot some questions, by all means. I'm happy to answer them, but that's pretty much why I don't have a frequency machine. Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure you click on like and subscribe. Let us know if there's anything else you'd like to see, and we'll see you in the next video.